Hello and welcome back everybody to Everlasting Summer. Zombie, demon, people apocalypse and shit. Do I need to say more? Let's continue. Forgive me, she whispered quietly. For what? For everything. For me being like that. For whatever we feel to achieve. It is not the right time for that right now, I said tenderly. We don't have much time left. So I'd say it's the right time. She looked up at me and faintly smiled. Forgive me. If only I hadn't been selfish in the first place. I looked into her eyes, her bottomless, sorrowful eyes, and I felt a hot tear crossing my cheek. No, it is me who should be sorry. I was totally ignorant of what to say in such a situation. I did so much wrong to her, caused her so much pain, and now, at the last minute, I can't think of anything other than an empty "I'm sorry." I was overwhelmed with anger at my helplessness, at being unable to protect the only person I held dear. You know, I always loved you. I know, she said quietly. Masha smiled again, although her face was trembling and tears were running down her cheeks. And I still love you. I know. I couldn't stand it. I longed to turn away, to close my eyes. But I can't afford weakness at this last minute. I leaned down and kissed her hard. Time stood still for us. This cursed pioneer camp, the dark night, all those hellspawn and even the bloody grasshoppers just ceased to exist. The whole universe ceased to exist. Just two of us were left. Just when I was almost willing to believe that it was all just a bad dream, the woods came alive with rustling. The foliage far away quivered, and a swarm of vague silhouettes emerged from the darkness. I still couldn't make them out, but I was certain that they are the same creatures that we had seen at the bus stop. By the way, still I did not yet consider the possibility that this is all set up, that they want to make a horror movie and they wanted to make it believable. That would be stupid, but is in the realm of possibilities. My whole body was stricken with dismay. I was afraid to breathe. So, this is how it ends, said Masha quietly and held me tighter. No, this is not the end. Suddenly I have realized that I will fight for her till the last drop of my blood, as long as there is the slightest chance of survival. I jumped up, tugged her off the ground, and rushed over to Lena. She was lying deathly pale, with her eyes open, and she didn't seem to understand what was happening at all. I started shaking her by the shoulders. Get up! There was no reaction. I gave her a few slaps and she let out a dull moan. Get up now! As I roused Lena, she stared at me with a spaced-out look. Let's run! I grabbed the girls by their hands and rushed aimlessly. The further from them, the better. I was tumbling down, getting up again, helping Lena and Masha to get up too, hewing through the dense foliage. Eventually, the noise faded, leaving us with the only quiet chirping of grasshoppers. The light flickered in the distance. Yeah, now finally we're here. Soon enough we came into a small clearing, completely sheltered by the trees. There was a building that somehow looked like a kindergarten. What is that? I stammered. The building of the old camp, said Lena faintly. It seems that she was slowly coming back to her senses. I stopped, hesitating. Sure, it was quite naive to think that we can find the shelter here. It was obvious that we can't be secure anywhere with all that stuff that is happening. On the other hand, we were on the verge of collapsing, especially the girls. I took a few hesitant steps towards the building when the rustling from behind reached my ears. I froze in my tracks, unable to turn around. The rustling was growing louder, and suddenly we heard the diabolical chirping. Huh! Well, I did not expect that to be only Ulyana's, Jesus. Now I see what is going on with their faces at least. Oh, is the one in the background the Chief Ulyana? I forced myself with a superhuman effort and turned around. A crowd was behind me. A crowd of little girls. Or rather, a crowd of Ulyanas. They were all exactly the same as that Ulyana I saw this morning, with the same torn face and horribly distorted smile. And all of them made the hellish sound, the chirping of grasshoppers, a diabolical noise that chilled my heart. We froze where we stood, unable to take even a single step away. Oh, is that Shurik's head? All of a sudden, one of the Ulyanas came forward from the crowd and pulled the severed head of Router. Yeah, it is. Shurik. Electronic, I'm stupid. From behind her back. A grimace of horror was permanently frozen on his face. I almost fainted as she started to talk. Hi there, Semyon. How are you doing? Her first voice felt like a bullet piercing right through my brain. I screamed and fled towards the old camp building, dragging the girls along. I must admit that back then I'd completely stopped thinking of Masha or Lena. Maybe they were also screaming. Maybe they were shocked by horror. I did not know. The most important thing now is to get as far away as possible from these monsters. We flew into the building, and immediately the ground disappeared under our feet, and I fell into the darkness. Oh, you fell into the trapdoor, I guess. I awoke in complete darkness. My whole body ached, especially my legs, but somehow I still managed to get up, leaning against the wall. I wonder if they re-enter their reality through the mines now. I mean, they came in through the mines. Maybe they re-enter through the mines. We'll see. The sound of the Ulyanas was nowhere to be heard, which calmed me down a little. I called out in a thin voice, Masha! Lena! I heard a movement nearby and felt someone gripping my leg. I instinctively jumped back, but at the same time, a faint voice came from below. Are we still alive? Seems like it. I helped Masha get up. Suddenly, a bright light fired up a couple of meters away from me. I leaned against the wall, trembling, but immediately realized that it was Lena who had turned on a flashlight. Where did that come from? Where did you get that? Lena came closer, limping. I took it, just in case, yesterday. You devil, you evil! I do not trust you, not a little bit. I took the flashlight from her and shone it around. We were in some kind of tunnel. The walls were lined with wires until lamps were hanging from the ceiling. Where are we? Where are we? I don't know. Looks like some kind of bomb shelter. I looked up and saw a pretty formidable hole, beyond which one could barely make out the hallway of the old camp building. The floor had probably rotted with age, and we fell down here. So we don't go through the whole bomb shelter thing, but we immediately come to the mines. I guess? Maybe? We'll see. At first glance, there was no way to climb back. To climb back. Too high, and there is nothing to grab. So what is there? Go further? I asked, not really expecting an answer. I don't know, but we'll have to check. I shone the flashlight ahead of us and took a few uncertain steps. My whole body was covered in bruises and scratches, but I could still walk. Ouch! Lena cried out behind me. What is it? I think I sprained my ankle. I was honestly expecting the next line to be something cliched like, leave me behind, I'll only be a burden. But of course she could never say that. Okay, lean on me. I went over to Lena and offered her my shoulder. Yeah, we're really in the mines. Soon enough, the stone walls gave way to wooden ones, and we ended up in some sort of mine. Let's have a break, Masha begged. I carefully lowered Lena to the ground and sat down nearby. Well, at least those monsters are nowhere to be seen. But for how long? I sighed heavily and closed my eyes. What do you think is going on here? Masha's voice was trembling, but she still sounded more or less confident. Looks like she's so exhausted and devastated that there's just no strength left for fear. I don't know. And honestly, I don't want to know. But we're gonna get out. Definitely. I couldn't see her face, but I was sure that she's smiling. Suddenly, the flashlight blinked and went out. Best moment for that. Now Lena's gonna kill you in your sleep, or I don't know. I hit it with my palm several times. The mine walls lit up with a dim light once again, and I immediately realized that something was wrong. Lena was nowhere to be found. Lena has disappeared, I whispered. What? Masha grabbed me by the sleeve and stared at the spot where Lena had been sitting a moment ago. How? But how? She started to cry quietly. We will die. We will definitely die. I also very much wanted to burst into tears. Darkness surrounded us all around, closing in. The flashlight was gradually dying. and with it, there were chances of survival. Get up, time to go. The battery will die soon. A couple of minutes later, we came to a fork. What the hell? Is this some kind of labyrinth too? I hissed under my breath. Let's go back maybe? No, no way. Masha pressed against me even harder. Where to then? I don't know. But we had to choose anyway. And I decided to go right. Oh, now you're suddenly just deciding by yourself, but before I always had to decide, huh? Soon we came to another fork. Where to now? Let's stick to the direction we chose before. That is what I always do as well. We had been wandering for too long. We had neither strength nor will left to move on. I was so terribly thirsty, I was ready to lick the moisture from the walls.